Hello everyone, good day and welcome to our channel Alena Media TV. We are broadcasting live from Toronto, Canada. My name is Elsa Abraham. We have some good news, and the good news is Alena Media TV would like to announce to our lovely viewers that we are expanding our programs. So kindly take note of our weekly activities. On Monday, we will report on COVID-19. Tuesdays are African history. Wednesday, world news. Thursdays are African news. Friday, world history. And Saturdays is editorials. Another good news is we are starting a satellite broadcast very soon. This satellite broadcast will begin on the 20th June 2020, which will also be Eritrean Martyrs Memorial Day. Kindly take note of our frequency. Nile-Sat vertical 12728. Symbol rate 27500. FEC 5/6. We'll bring you more details after this short break. Kindly stay with us. In today's African news, government ban Dankalia from fishing-induced pressure. The home of Eritrean Afar people in the southern tip of Eritrea bordering the Red Sea, Djibouti and Ethiopia is going through calamities where the basic food has become scarce. The region is historically known as Dankalia, though almost 2 decades ago it was renamed the Southern Red Sea region by the ruling party of Eritrea. Traditionally, the Dankali people were seafarers and have been mainly trading across the Red Sea with the southern Arabia. On the shores, fishing is the main form of subsistence, in addition to the inland mining of salt, which they supplied to the surrounding regions with camel caravans. Located in the hottest region of the world, the Danakil Depression is a dry, arid land with little vegetation and water sources. Dankalia is a very unhospitable region where temperatures can go up to 55 degrees Celsius. However, Dankalia also has rich mineral deposits, almost all unexploited. Moreover, in the last few decades, the traditional fishing capabilities of the people of Dankalia were severely damaged by the government that has neglected the region, which is now suffering from lack of medical care, food shortage, and destruction of its economy. The poor state of the fishing industry illustrates the situation of Dankalia. Though the country sits over 2,335 kilometers of shorelines, including the coastal lines of its 350 islands, in 2018, Eritrea harvested a mega 4,300 tons of fish. The approximately 300,000 population of the region were mostly pastoralists, mainly herding goats and camels. However, due to the emergency steps that the government took under the pretext of fighting the coronavirus pandemic, they are in their situations. The region lacks basic medical services, shortage of food, and disruptions of their poor economy. The soft and brave people who withstood the harsh environment are being defeated by instability, absence of the rule of law, and oppression. Furthermore, Assab, the second Eritrean port and the biggest town in the region, has been dormant since the 1998 Eritrean-Ethiopian border war. Although the UAE maintains a military base at Assab, the indigenous population of the region have not gained any benefits from its presence. On May 30th, 2020, the Red Sea Afar Human Rights Organization issued a statement about a tragic situation unfolding, a tragic situation that led to the risk of starvation, threatening lives of citizens across the country. It accused the Eritrea regime of resorting to suppress the people in putting strict means of restrictions, isolating citizens by enforcing the policy of ethnic cleansing and forced displacement in continuation of the wide criminal plan to empty the region from its people in order to achieve a policy of demographic change to their land. The statement added the regime systematically starving the local people under the pretext of protecting the population from COVID-19, where it closed totally all the borders, land and sea, without taking any precautionary measures. Red Sea Afar Human Rights Organization statement in the tragic situation in the Red Sea Afar region in Eritrea. Red Sea Afar Human Rights Organization, dated 30th May 2020, statement reads, the Red Sea Afar region in Eritrea witnessing a tragic situation that led to risk of starvation threatening lives of citizens across the country as the ruling regime resorted to suppress the people in putting strict means of restrictions, isolating citizens by enforcing the policy of ethnic cleansing and forced displacement in continuation of the wide criminal plan to empty the region from its people in order to achieve a policy of demographic change of their land. The regime systematically starving the local people under the pretext of protecting the population from COVID-19, where it closed totally all the borders, land and sea, without taking any precautionary measures. The effects of this global crisis are making the residents and citizens of the region under a suffocating siege that puts them facing an unknown fate that threatens their life in this isolated and besieged area by the ruling regime in Asmara. The Red Sea Afar Human Rights Organization monitored the arbitrary measures taken by the Eritrean regime to starve the inhabitants of the Red Sea Afar region in a clear, deliberate violation of human rights and a blatant challenge to the principles and charters of the United Nations, exposing the citizens to extreme danger. Below are the 10 deliberate violations of the regime which Red Sea Afar Human Rights Organization monitored in the last 2 months. In the beginning of April 2020, chiefs and traditional leaders in the region notified the agents of the Eritrean government in sub-regions of Galalo, Dalak, Buya, Afambo, Adi, Teal, Assab, and Rieta that the risk of starvation threatens the residents and citizens of the entire region as a result of the movement restrictions imposed on them. The notables indicated that food stores are running out without the presence of any alternative sources to provide for their necessary need. At the end of April 2020, the Eritrean government emptied hospitals and removed pregnant women, delivered mothers, and other patients from Assab Hospital and closed most health facilities in the region and left patients facing their own fate without taking into account their health conditions. In addition to that, government authorities did not provide any preventive materials like face masks and gloves or any other first aid, and in no quarantine centers established to accommodate the sick to limit the spread of the virus. In late April 2020, military officials of the Emirati forces stationed at the Emirati military base in Assab provided logistical support, food, and health equipment, but unfortunately, this gesture was rejected by the Eritrean military generals and the local administration in Assab. It is a known fact that the government earns millions of dollars in exchange for leasing the strategic port, but no benefits or returns for the people of the region is documented so far. At the end of April, the Eritrean government forces intercepted 3 convoys of camels carrying foodstuffs to families coming from Samoti region in the Ethiopian-Eritrean border and heading to Buya and Melgbu, and they detained those responsible for the convoy and exploited the food that they were trying to get them to the affected families in their area. At the beginning of May, the security forces of the Eritrean government intercepted a camel convoy, 6 consisting of carrying foodstuffs coming from Djibouti to the region, Pesdura, in the Eritrean-Djiboutian border. In the beginning of May 2020, the security forces of the Eritrean government also detained approximately 74 camels in the Buya areas of the Glalo sub-region and humiliated citizens and confiscated their property. In the middle of May, the Eritrean naval forces arrested dozens of citizens who were fishing in the sea to meet needs of their families and prevented the fishermen from fishing and confiscated their boats in Bori Peninsula. A week before this month, May 2020, the Eritrean authorities continued to cut off the road for citizens to meet their needs, and they intercepted a convoy consisting of 63 camels coming from the area Bada ad Maruk in the Ethiopian-Eritrea border and heading to the Laim Bada under subzone of Galalo in the northern province of Red Sea, and another convoy consisting of 43 camels coming from the area of Hamad Ella to the area of Sanda in the sub-region of Arthur. The supplies were confiscated and the camels and people were detained in a military center at Adeto in the area of the Bada and the Galalo sub-region. After the dictator Isaias Afwerki delivered his annual speech on the occasion of the independence anniversary of Eritrea on May 24, 2020, he directly conveys threat to Eritrean citizens about COVID-19, in the clear contradiction with the announcement of the Eritrean Ministry of Health that declared the country is free of the virus and the recovery of all cases infected with the virus. Consequently, authorities continue to harass and monitor any movement across the Red Sea. On May 25th, they intercepted more than 50 fishing boats and confiscated them in the Buri region, in the Naval Transport Center north of Afar Red Sea. The Eritrean government also closed all seaports and marine resource officers in each of Dalak, Galalo, Engel, Tio, Edi, Barasuli, Assab, Riheita, and other coastal areas throughout the region, which puts residents and citizens of the region under the threat of starvation. Moreover, those who live in remote areas are living in tragic living conditions and lack any assistance. Finally, Red Sea Afar Human Rights Organization appeals to Eritrean political, human rights, and humanitarian organizations worldwide and neighboring countries such as Ethiopia, Djibouti, regional and international organizations to take urgent action to fulfill their humanitarian duty to save the people of the Red Sea Afar from the threat of starvation and extend a helping hand to the general Eritrean people. We at Alena Media TV stand with Afar people to solve all Eritrean problems. Let us all fight against the brutal dictatorship of Isaias Afwerki. Our prayers are with you. This is where we end today's episode. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment. Make sure you subscribe so that any video that comes from us will notify you. Thanks for watching.